This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Princess of Silmar ran like a champion this afternoon. And Strong Mandate is geared down for the last 16th of a mile. Oh, this is a very promising 2-year-old. Mike Smith says go with Royal Delta, and she is going indeed. Will take charges surging, and it's a photo finish. It's too close to call. Alpha wins the Woodward.
Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track. And Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America live from the Saratoga backstretch on this Thursday morning. A really beautiful morning up here at Saratoga. A little windy though. We're going to have to keep our papers in tow as the morning progresses. But sunny, temperatures are very comfortable, nice racing card today. And I also want to alert you to a couple of events to keep in mind if you're coming up, or if you haven't planned to come up, you may change your plans. It is Military Appreciation Day at the track today. Veterans or active service duty members get in free today with a valid military ID or proof of military service. Additionally, throughout the day, NYRA will honor active duty service members or veterans during some races throughout the day as well. That's today at the racetrack. Also today at the racetrack, we had Michael Amo on with us a couple of weeks ago from Thoroughfan, but he's also on the New York State Racing Fan Advisory Council. He mentioned that there was going to be a fan forum at some point up here. It's today. So if you'd like to make your voice heard on any thoughts you have, improvements you might like to see as far as New York racing is concerned, that will take place today. The Racing Fan Advisory Council Fan Forum. Richard Migliori will be emceeing. It will happen right after the last race this afternoon in the Alabama suite. And the suites are those box seat buildings that are on the clubhouse turn. They're all labeled. One of them is labeled the Alabama. That's where it will take place. Again, immediately following the last race today, Racing Fan Advisory Council Fan Forum. So if you'd like your voice to be heard, today is the day right up here at Saratoga Racecourse. All right, a little bit later on, in just a couple of minutes, we're going to be joined by Eric Donovan from the New York Racing Association. A little talk about today's action, looking out at a fantastic closing weekend as well. Dave Grenick from the Daily Racing Forum will touch on some of the same topics. And then a little bit later on, Seth Benzel, trainer. He's got a runner in this weekend's Forego, but he also has some interesting plans for racing and has been doing it for the past couple of seasons over in Dubai as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that international aspect. All of that in just a few moments. But first, as always, at the top of the show, a little backstretch buzz from Jeff Carl. Jeff was out this morning, talked to Graham Motion. Take it away, Jeff.
Good morning, Seth. We're here at Barn 32, the barn of Graham Motions on the Saratoga backstretch. Graham, you have two horses in today's With Anticipation Stakes, Hot Tin Roof and Strong Coffee. Both are coming out of career debut wins. 1 6 furlongs, 1 mile and 16th. Why two different approaches?
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the way it worked out. We actually brought Strong Coffee up here to try him on the dirt, and I worked him one time on the dirt, and I really thought he struggled with it. It's a lot deeper here than it is at Fair Hill. So the following week we took him over on the grass. He worked super, and then came the win on the grass. So with Hot Tin Roof it was a little different. You know, I tried to pick perhaps a more conservative spot by going up to Presque Isle. I was actually a little surprised that he won first time out because he's really a two-turn type horse.
Now, coming out of a 6 furlong race, the other coming out of a mile and 16th, is there different ways to prepare the horses for this race?
I don't think so. I mean, both these horses were pretty fit. Perhaps I've done a little more with Hot Tin Roof at home. He actually just came up here yesterday. He's been at Fair Hill the whole time, whereas Strong Coffee, he stayed up here. He just had one work. We got a little messed up with the weather last week. We finally got to work him on Sunday on the grass, but I don't really feel that's a hindrance to him. He worked very nicely. Not a flashy work, but a decent work.
Well, I'm certain there's going to be more to come and years to come from Graham Motion here in Saratoga. Graham, good luck today with the Anticipation Stakes. Seth, back to you in Racing Across America.
Technical difficulty there, and we appreciate what we did get, though, from Jeff and Graham Motion. I guess we'll see if we can get that fixed. Maybe we'll plug it in at the end of the show, but if not, maybe tomorrow or whatnot. But thanks, Jeff, for what we did see. Happy to be joined now by Eric Donovan, New York Racing Association. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning. How are you, Seth?
Very good. Happy to have you on board for the last visit. We've appreciated every week you've been in here during the racing meet, and it looks like it's going to be another nice day. What are some of your impressions over the 6+ weeks at this point?
It's just gone so fast. I mean, it seems like last year Frankie Dettori winning that race early in the meet. I mean, it's been just a wonderful meet, and we'll have an excellent finishing weekend here, final weekend. The stakes card on Saturday is tremendous with the 4 stakes, 12-race card, lots of good maidens early on in the card, and then some big stakes races. Of course, Tom Durkin. His last day in the booth Sunday. He'll be out in the backyard Monday. So, just a great way to end the meet here with this card on Saturday. Tom's celebrating his career, and the Spinaway and the Hopeful too. It's just outstanding.
And he's had some great calls during the meet as well, including the Travers. Give us some of your impressions going back to last weekend, the Travers card, VE Day with the upset. I thought certainly one of the most impressive performances was Artemis Agritera. The Big Beast certainly stamped himself as a contender, as a sprinter going forward with stakes quality now. What were some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I was most impressed with Artemis Agritera. I had a feeling she might be sitting on a race like that, but tough to really dig into her from the rail. A 3-year-old New York bred going against opens and olders, and it was just an outstanding performance. And she's really, done great, and expect good things to come from her from the rest of the year as well. And the Travers was an outstanding finish. I think the way the race set up early on with some kind of cat and mouse game early on going into the first turn, they really set it up for a horse like VE Day. And I know Rajiv Mirage was kind of struggling with the defeat on Wicked Strong, thinking he was the best horse. He was up there close, and didn't really think he did anything wrong, and just one of those things where you had the best horse where you wanted to have him, and it was just an unfortunate beat for him. But Jimmy Jerkins runs 1-2. That's a great story.
Yeah, that is a great story with his father getting the red jacket the day before and whatnot. There's plenty of good stories, including going back, and I've said it probably 5 times already this week, but the Artemis Agritera, the Chester and Mary Broman, I think that is one of the stories of the meet, no question about it. And they're still kind of in the thick of things for that owner's title. Things would have to go well for them, but they've got some runners in here, and they're right up in there. Rapoli, Maker, the Bromans. I suppose Michael Dubb is still in the mix as well.
Yeah, Dubb. I think Dubb and Rapoli are tied for the top spot right now, and then the Ramseys and the Bromans aren't far behind either. But you take a look at the scope of their operations, and the Bromans. It's not a small operation, but everything is kind of hands-on, and and the other guys seem like they have just a little bit bigger operation than them. So a lot of homebreds, a lot of stuff like that, and same thing with the Ramseys too, but just on a smaller size. So for them to be able to be as successful as they've been at the meet is really an outstanding story and a credit to their operation.
Yeah, and virtually all New York breds, and so you plug a grade 1 into that. It's really a fun meet for them. All right, let's take a look at a couple today, and also look out at what we've already talked about is a great stakes action weekend. We'll take a look at some of the Saturday action, but let's start out taking a look at the stake on today's card, the With Anticipation. This is fun. You throw in the P.G. Johnson in this race for the 2-year-olds going 2 turns on the grass. Always a fun race at the meet, and this one no exception. With Anticipation this year, $200,000. It's a grade 2 event, 1.1 miles on the grass. And Eric, while we talk, going to go back and look at the maiden breaker on August 2nd for Strong Coffee. That's a horse I liked going into the race. I thought there was some precociousness. Certainly with Warriors Reward on top, you had to pay attention first time out of the box. But it was a good, validating performance. It was right at today's distance on the grass up here. So I put Strong Coffee on top. And again, we'll watch the maiden breaker. Strong Coffee is going to be the number 4 horse. Face the Music came out of this race and won subsequently, so I think that flattered Strong Coffee. Underneath, Startup Nation was a little bit scary to me from Chad Brown, who was really having a good end to the meet. Also a maiden breaker in the career debut at this distance. And in the 3rd spot, I tossed in International Star for Mike Maker, who threw in a good debut win on the grass, followed up on the dirt at Belmont. We had an okay second, but might appreciate the return to grass in the 3rd career start. So for me, it was 9, 1, and 8. What did you think?
Yeah, I like Startup Nation a little bit in here, but I mean, obviously, not much separates these horses, and always a little bit of a guessing game with the 2-year-olds. But most of them making their second career starts. And you know, to me, it came down to Startup Nation, Designed for War, and Strong Coffee as the three that have the experience over the course at the distance. Against International Star, who ran well at Belmont, but still 6 furlongs to a mile and 16 is kind of a question mark. And I just thought with Startup Nation, you probably get the better price because he comes out of the New York Bred race. He did run the fastest race. I know his pace was faster in there, and it made sense that his race would be faster than some of the other ones. But you take a look at his final time against Designed for War and Strong Coffee, holds up pretty favorably. You got Chad Brown in your corner too. He's been red hot in the P.G. Johnson, winning the last 3 runnings, and he's also won the With Anticipation as well. So, you know, I just think you get a little bit of value there for a horse that may be just as good as, you know, some of the other ones with the sexier pedigrees that have run against the Open Company.
It is a very fun competitive race, though. Hot Tin Roof from Grand Motion, I think, has the potential to kind of step up here. Broke the maiden in the career debut on the synthetic at Presque Isle. Now, the number's a little light compared to these, but moves over to the grass by more than ready. I think he's kind of interesting. It's Grand Motion and Stone Street, certainly Designed for War from Pletcher is going to take a lot of action, and off the career debut, that one's interesting as well. And then Creaky Cricket, off of that last workout out at Arlington, the 59 and change, best of 18 in there. I thought, you know, at 20-1, that one's a little interesting too. So again, these 2-year-old grass stakes going 2 turns, I find intriguing, and I think this one lives up to it.
Yeah, there's no question about it. You get some shippers in there too. I mean, you mentioned Creaky Cricket, but you also have a couple coming up from Gulfstream as well. So makes it a nice race here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's look out at the finale this afternoon. Race number 10. It is a state-bred maiden claimer. These are $40,000 tag runners, 3-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs. I have this labeled, I have it at the top of the page, labeled as a tough race, but I went with Okie Dokie Smoky. Second start for a Smoke Lacken runner. Smoke Lacken runners I like as being precocious. It is Rudy Rodriguez. They're moving up the claiming ladder off of that 3rd place finish, and I think you can look at that as maybe a confident move off of the career debut. So to me, Okie Dokie Smoky was interesting. Underneath, I used King Gettigan and Hampton 5-1, who both on the numbers fit, but King Gettigan's had 11 tries and hasn't gotten it done, as has Hampton 5-1. And so in a race like this, you kind of want to go with the fresher face as opposed to the ones that have had plenty of opportunity and haven't gotten it done. But again, on the numbers, it wouldn't shock me to see either one of those break through.
No question about it. I think we see the race pretty much the same way. I'd take a little bit more of a stand against King Gettigan and Hampton 5-1 because I think not only can Okie Dokie Smoky step up, I think there are a couple other horses here that I'm not necessarily in love with, but could pop in there at a price as well. And certainly Hampton 5-1 and King Gettigan are consistent, but they're consistently not hitting the winner's circle either. So I'm with you. I like Okie Dokie Smoky best in here, a horse that debuted at 7 furlongs. First time out, inside post, you know, kind of got caught up in the pace the whole way there, and then was, you know, was just in front of Tony B. It was a runaway winner in that race, but battled it out with the rest of the field there. Had every reason to, you know, kind of quit and be 7th or 8th in that spot there where the other speed horse that was dueling with him was, but instead hung on there and just lost a photo for second there to Freight. So all in all, I thought a very good effort here. They turned him back to 6 furlongs, well posted. Rudy Rodriguez, Rod Ortiz, Michael Dubb, so good connections there as well. A lot of good things to like here, I think, about Okie Dokie Smoky. Also interested in Party On. Great meet for Bruce Levine. He's won 10 races up here. It's been outstanding, and you know, you figure this one might be able to get a little bit better second time out as well. So I'd take a shot with Okie Dokie Smoky on top, and you know, maybe play around in some exotics, trying to get King Gettigan or Hampton 5-1 in the 3rd spot, maybe even.
Yeah, and as I say, I have it labeled as a tough race, and I don't disagree with you. Maybe it's worth taking more of a shot against the 2 experienced horses than I did, because I think the first timer from Paul Pompa and Patty Reynolds is kind of interesting because it attracts Javier Castellano. I just couldn't pull the trigger there. There wasn't enough to intrigue me. But again, it's that kind of race where I think a fresh face is worth taking a look at, again, because Castellano was attracted. I have Freddie Freud in my mix off of a decent workout last time and moving into claiming ranks for the first time, and that one's one with
so
only
I'm saying
3
horses
stars.
like him, American Hero dropping. I mean, you know, who knows here?
Yeah.
You know, dropping class could mean a lot to some of these horses in terms of waking them up. So, you know, trying to get King Gettigan, Hampton 5-1 out of the number, not the worst thing.
Yeah, no, I
try to do
have
here.
no argument with that whatsoever. All right, let's take a look out at some of the nice stakes action that's coming up on Saturday. It really, really is a very nice stakes card. As we're winding down the meet, the last Saturday is going to be very, very good. First up, let's get some thoughts on the Bernard Baruch race number 5. Notable there, of course, is Wise Dan. But Boisterous doesn't seem to be quite as good at 7 as he was a little bit earlier in the career. 5 Iron, is 5 Iron going to go out and try to steal it? Now, up at Woodbine last time, did have some early speed, but faded badly. But that was an incredibly fast pace. May get a little bit challenged, though, by Sayad in here. So, I think the race goes through Wise Dan on the numbers. But this is a horse that's coming back after some surgery. Charlie Lopresti has been very conservative with the horse, so I think there's probably some question marks. So if somebody was going to take a shot, this is probably the race to do it. But where do you go?
That's the problem. I think if there was someone that really kind of stood out more to me, I'd say, okay, well, I'd take a shot against Wise Dan here. But, you know, his story is just tremendous. 2-time horse of the year, coming back after colic surgery, you know, with some question whether or not he'd make it through the surgery, and then, of course, whether or not he'd make it back to the track. He's passed all those tests, and from the people that I respect, whose opinions are, you know, are out there in the mornings, they seem to think that he's gotten better and better each week we've been up here at Saratoga. So he's ready for the race right now. And you know what? Like you said, with the pace scenario here, 5 Iron, Sayad, you know, there's another horse in here, BioPro, who's not slow either. It just seems like it's gonna, you know, it's gonna set up okay for Wise Dan, and he might not have to, you know, get too far down in his belly. He could get a good setup in here. Still, it's asking a lot. I mean, a horse that, you know, was cut open for surgery, coming back to the races here, you know, 3 months later. He's a super horse. We'll see how super he is. Maybe it's another, you know, another golden chapter in his storied career here. Certainly an easy route for, and I just don't see anyone else that I'd be all that thrilled. If there was, you know, no Sayad in the race and 5 Iron was in there by himself, maybe it's okay. He's a threat to wire the field, but seems like there could be there should be, at least on paper, a competitive enough pace here for Wise.
But again, race 5 on the card on Saturday, and what a way to start off the stakes action. Yeah, 2-time horse of the year. Just kicks things off for the stakes. Race number 8 on Saturday, the Grade 2 Prioress. These are 3-year-old fillies going 6 furlongs. And nothing jumped out at me as being super intriguing past Misbehavior, who I've liked throughout her career. I think Phil Schoenthal is a guy who's maybe a little under the radar as a trainer, but has attracted my attention over the past few years. And he came in, I believe this was his first Grade 1 starter, if I'm not mistaken. And she ran great in the test last time, in the Grade 1 test, and comes back with the cut back to 6. Castellano back on board. I think she's the intriguing story in this race.
She is, but you know what? I mean, I went back and took a pretty good look at the test, and I thought Sweet Whiskey really had the worst of it down on the rail there, and was only beaten a half length by Misbehavior there. And you know, I just have to think that if Sweet Whiskey had a similar trip to Misbehavior, she might have been able to win the race. Actually, she was really hampered down inside, so I'd have to give her another shot. I think there's some interesting horses showing up in the race that you know, haven't been in the test. I'm talking about the 2 Stone-tastic, who comes up from Monmouth Park, kept really good company last year as a 2-year-old against Untappable, stopped Charging Maria. Long layoff, super effort first off the bench at Monmouth. She could build off that race. She could be real tough. Kelly Breen and his connection's always tough when they come up here. And what about Princess Violet? Talking about Mike Hushin before a little bit. You know, a horse that's run very well against New York breds, second to Untappable. Someone had to be second to Untappable on the Mother Goose, but still, she drops out of a Grade 1, turns back a little bit in distance, has some speed as well. So, you know, I think Sweet Whiskey and Misbehavior are the ones to beat in here, but I don't think they have much of a margin.
And Hushin, another guy who's having a really, really good Saratoga meet. All right, let's look out now a little further on the card, and the 10th race is the Grade 1 Forgo. These are sprinting 3-year-olds for $500,000. And Eric, while we talk about this, pulled up the Belmont Sprint Championship on July 5th. We're going to watch the number 3 Clearly Now get it done. And off of that effort, certainly this horse is a contender in here, but hasn't been out since that July 5th race. So, you know, the 21st century training, it's not a big break, but it is perhaps notable. But boy, that buyer figure, maybe the break is going to be beneficial off of that buyer number. You also have Capo Bastoni, Vijay in here. Palace, of course, who is in such good form for Linda Rice, coming out of the win in the AG Vanderbilt, and Zebros, who had a nice second off a long layoff. My guest a little bit later on, Seth Benz will train. So I think it's, again, another fun stakes race on the card.
If Clearly Now runs back to this race at Belmont, you know, I think everyone else is running for second money here. This was a superb effort. He does, you know, his 2 biggest races are at Belmont at 7 furlongs, and you know, he's obviously a horse that does well at 7 furlongs, but, you know, is he a Belmont horse too? You know, that comes into question. That said, you know, a lot of respect for Brian Lynch. I think he does an outstanding job. He's been freshening this horse up since that race, and, you know, some nice workouts at Woodbine on the training track, which is a dirt track up there. So looks like Clearly Now is doing very well. And you know what? I think for the most part, he's really, you know, the one to beat in here. Palace has been outstanding for Linda Rice, but I think his 6 furlong races are way better than his 7 furlong races, and I think that's something to, you know, take a note of when you're looking at Palace and see, his effort in the True North, his effort in the Vanderbilt, then take a look at the Belmont Sprint, the General George. They're just not the same races, so I think he's really a better horse at 6 furlongs.
All right, and quickly, let's just get some ideas on the Woodward. That is the highlight of the weekend, obviously. Grade 1, $600,000, a mile and an eighth. Being a mile and an eighth, it's essentially the same as the Whitney, sure. And we have the first two finishers coming out of the Whitney, Marino and It's My Lucky Day. It looks like the race goes through them. Romance, one of those question marks. You just never know which Romance you're going to get. If you get the good one, he'll be in the mix. Zevo, obviously, out of the Suburban, is very, very interesting. Micromanage wins kind of the secondary prep for this, and we saw how those secondary preps can get it done at grade ones
Sure.
up here in the Travers last week. So what are your thoughts?
I think it's a real interesting race. I mean, a lot depends on how much you want to trust Marino. I know he looks like he's lone speed again, and here a horse that's been, in the 10-to-1 range most of the spot tries in big Grade 1 races. Now he's going to be favored in here. I had a tough time making the odds for this race, Seth, because I wasn't sure how they'd go with him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still, he was a 2 other than basically going into the Whitney last time out, and he's just a horse that when he's on his game and runs his best race, he's super. But how much do you trust him to run back to the race he ran in the Whitney? So we'll see. It's My Lucky Day, certainly a horse that I think a lot of people liked last time out. Took a lot of play in there, I thought, and ran very well. They put blinkers on this afternoon, or not this afternoon, but for Saturday afternoon, and we'll see how well he goes. To me, you're right. I think it goes through these two and see what you get from Zevo, who's been just outstanding for Chad Brown. State bred racer, steps up into the Suburban, pulls off the upset there to beat Marino, and we'll see what you get from him today. But Marino and It's My Lucky Day, the two to beat in there. Not sure really what I'd do in this race though in terms of betting it. I'd have to see the board, I think.
Yeah, because again, there's a couple others in here that are kind of head scratchers. Norum Bega and Last Gunfighter, to me, again, are horses on their best day. They can be up
Sure.
in. So yeah, you maybe want to look at the board and kind of decide from there on Saturday. I don't disagree with that. All right, Eric, again, we appreciate the visits every Thursday. Folks don't see you that much in front of the camera downstate anymore. Give us a little update. You're behind the scenes now doing some producing, right?
Yep, you should tune into Saratoga Insider, which is actually on the OTB channel in the mornings, and that's what we're doing now. Belmont will be the Belmont Insider, but good show that we do with Jason Blewett and Richard Migliori. They're the hosts, and we just do a couple races from that day, look ahead to the next day, get involved with some Twitter stuff, and a bunch of little fun things we do here and there. So it's not your typical replay show. It's kind of got a little life and a little more energy to it, so we hope everyone tunes in.
Excellent. Eric Donovan from the New York Racing Association. Again, thanks for the visits.
Thank you.
Have a fun rest of the meet, and good luck downstate. All right, we'll take our next break. When we come back, Dave Grenig from the Daily Racing Forum. Stay tuned.
When Saratoga ends, championship racing continues. Beginning September 3rd with the Del Mar Futurity, live from the West Coast. Then, on September 27th, the Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup headlines the biggest day of the Belmont Fall Meet. For these and all the championship thoroughbred races throughout the coming year, there's no better place to watch and wager than OTB TV and CapitalOTBBet.com.
Face it, most horse racing websites are just too much clutter, too much to navigate through. Next time, log on to CapitalOTB.com. Our newly designed website is easier than ever to use, with all the information the professional horse player needs. CapitalOTB.com.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
I'm Brian Nadeau of HorsePlayerNow.com. Did you know that each Monday during the Saratoga Racing Meet, all Capital Bets account holders can earn an additional 1% in their player rewards program when wagering on Saratoga races? For more information, log on to CapitalOTB.com.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTB.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3, place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
I'm Jeff Carl. Join me Saturdays and Sundays at 9 for the Handicappers Report. We'll handicap the top tracks across the country and help you prepare for the weekend in racing. That's the Handicappers Report, weekends at 9, only here on the OTB TV network.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America, live from the Saratoga backstretch on a beautiful Thursday morning. Happy to be joined now by Dave Grenig from the Daily Racing Forum. Good morning, Dave.
Seth, how are you?
Very good. Happy to have you on board, and we're winding things up. Started the last week yesterday. It looks like a great stakes weekend. It looks like right now the weather is certainly good, and the forecast I saw looked maybe a little shower passing through over the weekend, but overall I think it should hold up. So should be a fun last few days. Give us some of your impressions of the meet overall.
I thought it's been a good meet. I mean, fewer, less races here. I thought the quality, though, has been better. I think the 2-year-olds have been exciting. Winners and sort of runner-ups. A lot of close finishes, so a lot of horses that run second should come back and break their maidens, if not here and over the weekend, then down to the state of Belmont. I think it does set up for a good Belmont fall meet, which is good, because sometimes that meet can get a little bit lost in the shuffle now compared to what it used to be. But I thought the meet's been good, competitive racing. The trainers race, I think we have a race for the first time in years. It's a 4-win lead for Mr. Pletcher, but I know Chad's got a few more bullets to fire today than Todd does, so we'll see what happens over the weekend. Obviously, some exciting 2-year-old races carded for Saturday. Remember the last Saturday of the meet last year, Honor Code broke his maiden. Shug's got another one in there for those same connections that cost $1 million called Gold Shield in the second race that we'll be reading about in DRF.com on Saturday. plug. And, it should be good. If the weather holds out, we should have a really good weekend.
And trainers race, as you say, there's a 4-edge margin, which makes it interesting over the last 5 days of the meet. The jockey race got kind of interesting, but now that's why I think there's an 8-win margin there.
Yeah, Javier had 3 yesterday to Irad's 1 and kind of built his margin back up, and you got to think that he'll have just enough to hold him off. Irad made a nice run at him. At Belmont they tied, but Javier missed a few days. He missed toward the end of that last weekend, I believe, and he was down in Delaware, and then the Sunday, the last day he didn't ride, he had one mount he didn't ride, and Irad took full advantage. I don't think that scenario is going to play out in Saratoga.
With the Pennsylvania Derby now being later in the month, it used to be the Labor Day weekend, so you could maybe think one of the jockeys may make the move and one may stick. That's probably not going to happen here.
Exactly.
And so 8 wins ahead with 5 days left. It's mathematically it's kind of not impossible.
It's not impossible, but I mean, Irad would have to get hot again, like he did over that stretch, and Javier would have to go cold, and I don't know that I see that happening.
And then the third category that's going to be fun to watch too is the owners' battle.
Yeah, it's weird because I think Dub's in front with 11. I guess Rapoli has 11 as well, but Dub is, he's got 5 with this group and 3 with this group and 2 with the other group. So it's, you click on the stats and he's there, and then all of a sudden he's not there. And so it's a little strange. But I think it'll come down to probably Michael, Dub, and Rapoli. And look, but in my book, nobody had a better meet than Chester and Mary Broman.
Absolutely.
I mean, they have all New York breds, well-bred New York breds at that. But they won a grade 1 with Artemis Agroterra. Terrific job by Mike Hushen with that filly, and the Bromans just had a sensational meet, and they may not have the most wins at the end of the day, but they're the biggest winners of the meet.
Yeah, absolutely. Given their operation, you plug in a New York bred grade 1 winner, and being up there in the thick of things into the last weekend, I've said it for the past few days, one of the best stories of the meet. All right, let's take a look at a couple of races today, and then we'll go out and also get your opinions on some of the stakes action on the weekend. Let's start with the stake today. A little bit earlier we talked about this with Eric as well, and I showed Strong Coffee. Strong Coffee is the horse I like. Eric went with Startup Nation, and why don't we take a look at the debut win by Startup Nation, Chad Brown-Klarovich. This was back on August 7th. Startup Nation will be the number 8 horse. This is the career debut, wins off by a couple of lengths. So I had him right underneath. Again, Strong Coffee was intriguing to me in the career debut. I'm going to stick, given that the place horse out of that race, Face the Music, came back and won. So Strong Coffee, Startup Nation underneath. Then I have International Star for Mike Maker, but I think you can make arguments for a few of them in here. Designed for War from Todd Pletcher. Hot Tin Roof from Graham Motion, I think, is very interesting off of that debut win down at Presque Isle on the synthetics. And I also mentioned a horse I don't have in my mix, but at 20-1, Creaky Cricket off of the Bullet Workout at Arlington just seems maybe a little bit sneaky to me. But what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I liked Startup Nation. Just looking at the debut races of all the horses, I thought his was the most impressive for a 2-year-old to make up 10 lengths. And, they went quick. They didn't go fast. There wasn't like a 46 and then Navy Blue sort of ran out there. But you still had to go catch that horse. And I thought Startup Nation was quite professional in doing that. I would expect him to be able to save a bunch of ground here, breaking from the rail, as last time he was post 7. And you go into that first turn here. The first turn's been a bit hairy on most of these turf races, these 2-turn mile and 16 turf races. The first turn has been hairy, and him being in the rail there, he should be able to avoid any of those issues where maybe Strong Coffee being outside could get carried a little bit wide. International Star is quite interesting because the debut race against Open Company, this is a New York bred, but the debut race against Open Company was very good. And then they ran him I couldn't argue with him running him in the dirt, and he ran against a nice horse in Bustin' It. And Bustin' It didn't come back and win here his New York bred race on Sunday, but International Star coming back to the turf is dangerous. And I think Todd's horse could actually, as silly as this might sound, could get a little overlooked here. Because it was one of those, he just got loose on a slow pace and won for fun. But this horse is a seriously pedigreed horse, and I don't necessarily I just think he took advantage of the fact that nobody else wanted to lead. If there's somebody else in here, whether it's Kutzhoff or even International Star, I would think that Todd's horse could sit a little bit. So it'll be interesting. In the matchup between Chad Brown and Todd Pletcher for leading trainer, this could be a pivotal race.
Yeah, you're right, and I don't disagree at all. That 5-2 morning line, it wouldn't shock me to see that float up because some of the other horses we mentioned, I think, are going to take some action, and it's just an intriguing race, and it'll be intriguing to see where the betting public does go. All right, 9th race this afternoon, optional claimer, $80,000 tags, non-winners of 3 other than going a quick 5.5 on the turf. I went with Golden Rifle from Paul Pompa and Chad Brown. This horse has been off since the middle of June, but in turf sprints, I like bona fide turf sprinters. Now this horse has been bouncing around 7 and 6. I think that is different than the 5.5, but I just think that this horse has plenty of early speed. The numbers have been improving in the last 3 starts, and again, we're coming off a little bit of a layoff, but I took a little shot with that one on top. Javier Castellano obviously having a very good meet. Chart Topper underneath. Brian Lynch having a very good meet with limited starters, but another horse that is a bona fide turf sprinter with plenty of early speed. And then I went out to the number 8, Stormy Rush, kind of getting some class relief in here. Has been racing most recently in Stakes Company. Drops in for the 80 tag today, and I think on a best effort, that one's one to look at as a competitor too. I've had 3, 1, and 8.
Yeah, I'm going to try and reach out here for a trainer that I've been trying to wake up all meet and have had no success. That's Jimmy Toner, and with number 5, Heaven's Runway. I just thought he could fall into a nice trip here because I think there is a lot of speed here. You got I'm Stoked outside of Heaven's Runway. You got the 2 inside horses that you mentioned, Chart Topper and Golden Rifle. I think are going to go. I just think the race is crying for someone to come from off the pace. And I thought the race 2 back on the turf, going 3/4 at Belmont on June 29th, was a better race than it might just look on paper. He got beat 3 1/4 lengths, but Spring to the Sky was awesome that day. And Spring to the Sky came up here and won, I believe, a minor stakes race. So this horse was only beaten like maybe a length or so for second. Came back in a race at Monmouth that came off the turf and was second to Burn Identity, who came back and won. And third race off the form cycle. Think she's going to sit a trip. And I'm hoping to wake Jimmy Toner up there at a nice price here. The other horse that you mentioned that I did like was Stormy Rush, the outside horse who is dropping out of a grade 2 at Woodbine, and last time was in Allowance Company, did win at 5/8 of a mile at Gulfstream Park, and again sitting outside could also sit a trip.
And your top pick there, Heaven's Runway, you have Alvarado on board, and I think he's quietly had a pretty good meet on the jockey side too.
He has. He's trying to get back to where he was last winter before he broke his ankle, and he won the Whitney, has a good chance to win the Woodward, and most recently did get his 1,000th career victory.
Very good. All right, let's take a look out at the stakes action on Saturday. Again, the first stake on the card features the 2-time horse of the year. Mid-card, you get the 2-time horse of the year in the Bernard Baruch. And we're going to go back and watch the last time Wise Dan ran. That was back on May 3rd. Wise Dan will be the number 1 horse, just getting up at 1-2 in the Turf Classic down at Churchill Downs. And again, has been off since this race, has had surgery. Charlie Lepresti was looking at the 4-star All-Star Dave earlier in the meet, wasn't happy with the horse. Then he was debating between this race on Saturday or up at Woodbine. He's been conservative. It seems like the horse is in some pretty good form right now, and I was talking with Eric earlier. If you're going to take a shot against Wise Dan, given the circumstances, this is probably the place to do it. There just aren't that many other options to go to, it seems.
Well, that's the thing. So it is a large field. There's 11 entered here. Obviously, 2 are main track only, so you take those 2 out, so there's 9. And 5 Iron is a bit interesting because of the way he's going to run the race. And I thought before entries came out, I thought 5 Iron might be the horse that you take a shot with because he's going to go out there. Wise Dan's going to have to run him down and all the things that you mentioned. There's weight, there's colic surgery, there's layoff, yada, yada. But now Syed's in the race, and Syed's not going to let 5 Iron get it all his own way for the whole race. So Syed being in the race, I think, helps Wise Dan. And I was talking to Charlie Lepresti about that very fact this morning, and he was quite happy to see Syed in there. Was hoping that they go. And he actually said he gave Mr. Fink all the options last night. If you don't, look at the PPs. If you don't like what you see, we can come out and go to Woodbine. He said, no, we're going to be 2 to 5 in there. Let's run in there. So there's really no more hesitation that any lingering doubt of this horse returning tomorrow is removed. He's definitely running. I think he's going to sit a nice trip. But I do agree with you. I think people are going to take shots. I'm a little surprised they carded this as the 5th, unless they know of horses that are coming out, because I think people will try and bet against Wise Dan tomorrow or Saturday. I'm not so sure I will. I'm a little bit interested in Bio Pro because I have such great respect for Bill Mott. The horse I thought ran a pretty nice race in the Lure Stakes, went second to Big Blue Kitten, who I was trying to beat that day, and I obviously was wrong. But my only concern is maybe this horse is a need to lead type to run his best race. But Wise Dan's going to get a nice setup here, and he's going to be very tough to beat. Yeah, exactly. It's just on the numbers, he can regress and still have the edge on most of these here. But there are some horses that are, Boisterous isn't at age 7 what he was earlier in the career, but he can always fire a big shot. Optimizer the same. He really isn't what he was earlier in the career, but on his best day, it's intriguing, but it is one of those that after the race is over and Wise Dan wins, we all may say, he might pay $380. You're like, how do you pay $380? He's supposed to pay $280 or $340.
Yeah. All right, a little bit later, the Grade 2 Prioress. It is for the 3-year-old fillies going 6 furlongs. And when I was talking with Eric, I said the intriguing story in here is Misbehavior. Phil Schoenthal's a guy that I think is maybe kind of making a mark a little bit now. I've been on him for a couple of years and thought he was, sitting there on the up and come. And I think the performance in the test kind of proved that. I thought that was a big run by this horse in the test. Now cuts back to 6. So Misbehavior to me is kind of the story horse in the race that I'll be paying attention to. But again, it's an intriguing field.
It is an intriguing field. Misbehavior cutting back to 3/4. That's her distance. She's 3 for 3. She's got a graded stake at Belmont at that distance. She's won Monmouth stakes at that distance and a Pimlica. This is the race that Phil Schoenthal circled on the calendar at the beginning of the year. The only disappointment for him was that it got downgraded to a Grade 2 because it used to be a Grade 1. And I thought when he was thinking about this year, I think he was thinking, this is my chance to win a Grade 1. Look, she ran Dynamite in the test, came out of it with a few scrapes on the hind legs, and he was when I talked to him the day after the test, he was slightly concerned about being able to make it for this race, but things have gone well since. She's got the 1 breeze in between at Laurel, 48 and change midweek last week. I think she's the one to beat, but I'm going to go. I would probably take a shot against her with Sweet Whiskey, based on her races. Her one-turn races have been very good. They're all one-turn races, but her race in the test, she got stopped a little bit there trying to make a rally up the fence, and so she's going to look, that she got beat. She was 5th, but she only got beat a length and a half to, a very, very nice horse in Sweet Reason, basically a half a length behind Misbehavior at the finish. I think with a little bit cleaner trip, maybe Sweet Whiskey, who's now drawn a little bit at least toward the middle and the outside. She was post 2 in the test. I think she's going to be very dangerous here. But those are the 2 that strike me the most. Just so your viewers know, Tea Time is a horse that I really like going into the test. I'm off, so that's your signal to go to the windows, because I didn't think she could have run any worse than the test than she did. Maybe cutting back to 3/4 is her thing too, and maybe for like the old, what the racetracks call suicide prevention, I'll throw her on a ticket, but I think I'm backing off.
It is funny how that works. It does seem that, but you and Eric both like Sweet Whiskey, so folks can tuck that in their pocket. Also on the card on Saturday, the Grade 1 Forgo. Capo Bastone, Vajak in here. Clearly now we looked at his race in the Belmont Sprint Championship. Off since then, but maybe that it will be beneficial given the huge buyer number there. Maybe the layoff will work to his advantage. Zebros, we're going to talk to Seth Benzel in just a couple of minutes, but nice second place finish off the layoff since Dubai. And of course Palace coming out of the A.G. Vanderbilt win last time for Linda Rice. So again, another intriguing stake on the card.
It is an intriguing stake on the card, and one horse that you didn't mention who I was going to maybe take a shot with, but who I just learned before coming here is going to scratch, is Falling Sky. Falling Sky got loose this morning during training hours and got scraped up a little bit. Nothing too serious, nothing that's going to keep him sidelined too long, but it's not what you want to happen 2 days before a Grade 1 stake, so he's not going to run. I thought he had actually had a pretty good shot because he's a 7-furlong specialist, and I thought he ran pretty good in the Vanderbilt. Clearly now is clearly the horse to beat. I think the layoff from the Belmont Championship to here is by design. One, coming back in 4 weeks to run a 3/4 race probably wasn't what they wanted to do. Recovering from a big number, letting him recover from that huge speed figure he got when he won the Belmont Sprint Championship. And this is his distance. He's a 7-furlong specialist. His last 2 wins, Belmont Park, 7/8 races. This horse, the one, I got off him last year, going back to our grinding off type of handicapping thing, because when he got beat in the Gallant Bob, I thought there was absolutely no excuse, except for the fact that on the one day in the world, in the history of the world, that Parks was favoring inside as opposed to outside, he was outside of the rail, and he got beat by some 30-to-1 shot who came along the rail. But since then, he's really run some fantastic races. The Met was a very tough race and on a lot of horses, but it's been productive. Golden Sense showed that the other day. I got to go with Clearly Now, since my other choice, Palace I'll give a shot to, although Palace I think is better at 3/4 than 7/8.
All right, and finally the highlight of Saturday's card, the Grade 1 Woodward. We're going to take a look while we talk about this at the Whitney, and of course the first 2 finishers of the Whitney are coming back on Saturday. Number 3, Marino, wins on the front end. Number 4, It's My Lucky Day, runs a good second in here. They're both back on Saturday, and it is the very same trip, so they obviously are going to garner a lot of attention. And I said earlier, talking to Eric, there are also some horses in here that are maybe head scratchers that on their best day, Romanche, Norumbega, Last Gunfighter, who I liked in the Whitney, did nothing there, but boy, you go back to his best races. And then horses like Zevo coming out of that win in the Suburban is interesting, and Micromanage, and I said it earlier, comes out of kind of a second level prep perhaps for this, and we saw how well the second level prep for the Travers did last week, so Micromanage is a little bit interesting as well. What were your thoughts?
Well, the key thing here, is the post draw here for It's My Lucky Day, because there's really no other speed in the race to go with Moreno unless It's My Lucky Day does it. And I talked to Eddie Pleaser this morning, and he said we're going to have to break a little bit more affirmatively from the rail than we would have had we broken from another post position. Moreno has a tendency to break a step slow. He recovers quickly, but he has a tendency to break slow, whereas It's My Lucky Day has a tendency to break well. If he breaks alertly and Moreno breaks a step slow, I think It's My Lucky Day's going. I'm not saying he's going to outsprint him to the lead once they get to the first turn, but he's going to make him run faster than he has to be. This is not going to be Moreno dancing on the lead. If Moreno wins wire to wire, he's going to have to earn it. It opens up the race big time to me, Seth, I think. I like It's My Lucky Day a little bit, but if he's going to have to do the dirty work, that could compromise him late. Horses like Zevo, as you mentioned, is going to take advantage of that. Norumbega's 2 for 2 at Saratoga. I have to go back and look at exactly what races he's won, but I know he hasn't won anything this caliber, but he's a little bit interesting, having trained at Fair Hill. Micromanage, I'm not sure is staying in the race. I think he's cross-entering for the Greenwood Cup at Parks on Monday. It's a 1.5 miles. I don't know that for a fact, but I know Todd had mentioned that earlier in the meet to me that he was going to look at that race, so we'll see. Romanche is a horse that I haven't guessed right on at all. And then Long River, who I think I publicly declared once he ran the way he did in the Stephen Foster that I was just signing off with him, and he didn't do anything to change my opinion when he ran poorly in the Monmouth Cup. But I think the race is very intriguing. I thought Moreno was just going to dance. He's not going to dance. It's My Lucky Day is going to make him run, and I think Zevo can pick up the pieces. And kudos to Chad Brown. It's hard enough to get one horse to win 6 races in a row. He's had 3 in the last 2 years. Last Gunfighter, this horse, and Read the Perspectives. Granted, some of that's in New York bred races, but still 6 in a row with 3 different horses. Tell me who's
it was interesting. Chad was on with Andy Serling on his radio show last Thursday down at the Parting Glass, and he kind of made a comment on that, being with Frankel, and his philosophy is kind of get horses confident so that they can follow up good efforts with good efforts and place them in spots where they can hold that confidence.
Right. And then you take your shot. And he took a shot in the Suburban, and he won. And he got a nice setup. Moreno went very fast. And now it looks like Moreno's going to have to go very fast again, and we'll see if Zebo can take yet another step up.
And Palace Malice not in here.
Palace Malice not in here. Going to wait for the Jockey Club Gold Cup. We'll take charge. Not in here. Going to wait for the Jockey Club Gold Cup and get a couple leads back down there. Come back down to Belmont September 27th for not only Jockey Club Gold Cup. Tom Durkin bobblehead all day.
Oh, is it really? There you go. There you go. All right, Dave. We appreciate the visits. We had you and Mike Welch kind of alternating here on Thursdays. We absolutely appreciate it. You can find the commentaries and clocker workouts from Mike Welch and Mike Vesey in the Daily Racing Forum. You can find Dave's work also, hard copy of the Daily Racing Forum or drf.com. Dave, we appreciate the visit. Get home safely.
Thank you, Seth.
All right, we'll take our last break. As promised, we'll come back. Seth Benzel has Z-Bros in the Forego this weekend. Also, we'll talk a little Dubai with Seth right after this. Stay tuned.
When Saratoga ends, championship racing continues. Beginning September 3rd with the Del Mar Futurity, live from the West Coast. Then on September 27th, the Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup headlines the biggest day of the Belmont Fall Meet. For these and all the championship thoroughbred races throughout the coming year, there's no better place to watch and wager than OTB TV and CapitalOTBBet.com.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
The future of online betting is here, and only at the all-new CapitalOTBBet.com. CapitalOTBBet.com delivers a state-of-the-art wagering experience found nowhere else in horse racing. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today. Summer at Saratoga, and there's no better place to watch all the racing action than right here on OTB TV. Each morning, the Handicappers Report brings you selections and analysis from our professional handicappers. Then stick around as the biggest names in racing join us live from the backstretch. The top trainers, jockeys, and racing personalities all share their unique insights and observations. For more than 20 years, there's been just one place to turn for unparalleled coverage of the Saratoga Racing Meet, Capital OTB and OTB TV.
Fascinated by the world of horse racing? Interested in honing your handicapping skills? Class is in session. Night school, Monday nights. Easy to access online. It's free, interactive, and informative for the casual and serious race fan. Horse Player Now Buzz. Live horses to watch emailed to you daily. Our eyes, your prize. Night school in the buzz. Visit horseplayernow.com for details.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to Racing Across America, live from the Saratoga backstretch on this Thursday morning. I will advise the man behind the camera we need a battery on one of the microphones. So if you could go get the battery for the microphone behind the camera. So, go ahead. All right. Joined now by Seth Benzel and Joanna Pateyuk. Happy to have you guys on board. Am Dubai Racing. We're going to talk a little bit about Dubai and interesting concept in racing horses over there, obviously during the carnival and the big season. But before we do that, I want to touch with Seth Benzel because, Seth, you have an interesting runner in the Forego on Saturday, Grade 1 event. Is it Z-Bros or Z-Brothers?
Z-Bros is the proper pronunciation for the horse, and yeah, so we're looking forward to running on Saturday.
And I pulled up some video here. We have a August 13th race, allowance optional claimer. We're going to watch the number 13 Eastwood win. It was an off-the-turf event at 5.5 furlongs. Z-Bros, the number 12, will run second. And it's kind of notable because Z-Bros was coming off of a layoff since Dubai. I think you have to be pleased with the layoff and the second place finish, and just give us some ideas of how you feel he's coming into the Forego.
Yeah, we were real enthused with that race. I mean, we lost some time down at Fair Hill. You know, we planned on having one race before we came up here to Saratoga. we weren't able to do that. So coming here, we definitely wanted to get one race in and just see where he was at. And we were real enthused with the race. Like you said, Eastwood ran a very powerful race in the slot, but it was our horse's first time ever handling an off course, and we thought he came back and came out of the race in very good shape. So we were enthused by the effort and think, you know, he'll make a move forward off of that.
That was 5.5, again, on a sloppy track. Now moves out to 7. He's had some 7s before. How do you think the distance will?
Yeah, I think it's like anything. You don't know how the pace scenario is going to shape up, but obviously our horse has a lot of early speed. And, you know, if we find ourselves in a position to where we're able to be comfortable, I think he's a dangerous horse. Again, you know, off of the first run we had here, he's done very well training. He's had a very good workout since. And so we're moving into the race with a lot of confidence that he'll run his race. And, you know, we'll see where that is compared to the other runners.
It's certainly an intriguing race, and so we wish you luck with Zebros.
Thank you.
Now let's get into, as I said, a little international racing. You've got an interesting concept trying to get some owners involved and going over winners in Dubai. Give us a little bit of the philosophy behind Am Dubai Racing.
Yeah, Am Dubai Racing, Joanna and I have started, and it's our project basically trying to connect America and Dubai, you know, the racing industries between the two. I went over there 2 winters ago for my first stint, you know, in being in Dubai and training for a private organization. Joanna's been over there for 3 winters now, and between the experiences that we had, we really saw the need for, you know, America to be represented in Dubai. In the end of the day, their whole concept is to have an international meeting. And what better place to showcase our breed, you know, our owners, and our horses than in an international affair. So we see a lot of opportunity, and we look forward to being the stable that connects the two.
And Joanna, I think we have some pictures I pulled off the internet, but one of the things I find intriguing about Dubai Racing is that Meydan racecourse, which is just phenomenal. Talk a little bit about it.
It's like, first of all, you can tell it's huge.
Yeah.
It's like almost like airport. It's amazing facilities. It's really impressive. And they've done a really good job, and I think everybody who likes races and love racing international has to go and visit this place at least once in life.
Yeah, I definitely want to. I mean, the pictures are just incredible, and watching the carnival on television, it seems like it is really a great experience. Give us a little bit of your racing background. How'd you get involved in the game, and how'd you wind up over in Dubai's in the winter?
Basically, I start from Poland. I used to be a jump jockey in Poland, my country. After I moved forward to Italy, and I ride races in Italy, Sweden, Germany, Czech Republic, and a few more countries. I have experience in France as well, and UK. And after that, I thought that I have to, you know, do it something different, and I applied for a job in Dubai, and I was assistant in Abu Dhabi in the biggest Aragon operation. We had both thoroughbred and Aragon horses. So it was my first season like assistant trainer there. For very good operation, Al Asar. And second winter, I used to work for Shadwell operation, John Hyde, this pre-training ride, just to involve myself more in American pedigree and you know, just compare them with Irish horses. And in this time we met and we come out with a project that we should use, you know, American horses for our project and give opportunity to American owners and horses to compete more and show how good they are. Especially now they change for dirt from next season.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll talk about that change in just a second. Before we do that, though, you talked about being a jump jockey, Czech Republic. Isn't that crazy, the big jump race in the Czech Republic?
Yeah, actually, yes. I won 5 races in Pardubice racetrack and steeplechase. It's amazing. I was very young and brave. I'm not sure that I would do now that. It's amazing work. You know, you have to sacrifice a lot of work and a lot of passion for that. It's danger, but winning jump race, it's nothing better.
Very good. And let's talk a little bit about the surface chain, Seth.
Sure.
It was notable. There is a pushback on synthetics. I'm not sure whether that, I totally agree with that, but it is the way things are going over in Dubai. They decided to change to dirt. I believe you're essentially the only American in the past couple of seasons that has been based over there through the entire season. Will dirt change things up?
Yeah, it sure will. And we've already seen the response in a lot of the people that we've talked to, which is real encouraging. Like you said, when I arrived there in Dubai, they said, you know, you realize you're the first American trainer ever to come here for the whole carnival. You know, and that's what most people don't know is, yes, there's the World Cup and there's the build up to that, but there's a whole season that starts from the first week of January that offers very big purses over a small amount of time, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be a part of that. And that's really what we want to be there for, so everybody can use us to have the ability to represent themselves and really our country over there, because it is an international affair. And you look at things, people love the international taste. You look at the World Cup, you look at, you know, the Olympics. We really feel this is the closest thing to horse racing that horse racing has. So we thought it was a great project to start, and like you said, the surface change really goes in our favor. Before, it was difficult running against the Euros and even the Japanese on turf and synthetic. I think we were against the grain a little bit. But now that they've gone to dirt, it completely reverts back to us, and we have the advantage, and we need to take advantage of that. And we're looking forward to having good representation over there this year and put the project to where it's something we do every single year.
And I got Joanna's background. We've had you on the show before, so we've talked a little bit about it. But for folks who didn't see that, I should get your background. How's an upstate New York boy wind up in racing and over in Dubai?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's crazy. And you know, the longer you spend in horse racing, you realize it's really an amazing trip. You know, all the way from starting with Bill and Todd and everything I did with them, then on my own, and now in Dubai. It's really, to me, it's a journey. You know, it's not just about the game, it's where it takes you as well. And it's always been that way, and it's great to be able to go over there and say, hey, you know, I'm from upstate New York, and we're over here representing our country. And, you know, at the same time, it's great to come back here and talk with everybody and say, hey, look, you can be a part of it as well.
And Bill Mott and Todd Fletcher, you assisted with both of them.
Yeah, they were great.
A great foundation there. If folks are interested in Dubai Racing Stable, if folks are interested in maybe learning a little bit more about it, how can they get in touch? Or I see you have a Facebook page.
Yeah, we have a Facebook page, just Dubai Racing Stable. Just like us on there. We have all of our information. We encourage people to reach out to us either through email, the email that's on there, or through my personal phone, and we'll look forward to sharing with them the details about it and what's in it for them and how we go about the process.
And Joanne, you're an international racer, racing over in Europe, as you say. Was this your first visit to Saratoga, and how do you like it?
Yeah, it's my first time. I love it. Probably I'm not very original because everybody loves it, but it's like something very unique. And I've been in Longchamp, I've been in Dubai, I've been in many very, very beautiful racing places, you know, huge racing in the world. But Saratoga, like, I think social life and just like open-minded atmosphere is just unique.
Absolutely.
That you have to be in Dubai for once, but you have to be in Saratoga for once, for sure.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, trip to Dubai, trip to Saratoga. Yeah, it's got to be on everybody's racing
it's not a bad calendar, right?
Yeah, exactly. When do you guys head back?
We head back in the first week of December. You know, but right now starts our push from now until November. November is when the paperwork and all the planning has to go in. So, you know, we'll be talking to a lot of people over the next couple of months, but officially the horses leave in December.
And as you say, it's not just the carnival. And we should make the point too, it's not just Made-In. They have other racetracks.
Yeah, they have other racetracks, exactly. There's 5 racetracks that we can take part in, and we really think the key to this project is going over early and committing yourself to it. You know, there's been some success going over, racing and coming back, but those were very nice horses, and now we appreciate it even more because it takes a lot to be able to do that. But we think going there in December, you know, letting the horses get acclimated and get used to the season really is going to be an advantage for our success over there.
We certainly wish you a lot of success, because I know over the past couple of seasons we have the Dubai races very often here on the Capital OTB TV network, and it's kind of been fun to have an American guy to root for, and so we wish you a lot of success over there.
Thank you very much. We appreciate coming on, and we encourage everybody to go to our Facebook page, and we'd love to get a lot of people involved.
Absolutely. It should be fun. Seth Benzel and Joanna Peteauk.
Perfect pronunciation.
It was so good the first time. But again, we wish you a lot of success. Thanks for the visit.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, we're going to wrap up the show. Before we do that, I do want to remind you once again, it's Military Appreciation Day over at the track. If you're an active member or if you're retired, you have a military ID or proof of service, you are admitted free. They'll be honoring the service members all day long here at the track. And again, the New York Fan Racing Advisory Council, they're having their fan forum here this afternoon. It's after the last race, and it's in one of those buildings, the box seat buildings on the clubhouse turn, the one labeled the Alabama. Immediately following the last race, it will be emceed by Richard Migliori. If you have any thoughts or suggestions for racing in New York, today is the day to make your voice heard. All right, I'm Seth Merrill. This has been Racing Across America. We're every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday during the Saratoga meet, which means things are kind of winding down. But again, we have a couple days left for Racing Across America at 10 a.m. 9 a.m. means the handicappers report. So tune back in tomorrow morning, cash some tickets this afternoon, and enjoy the races.
Racing Across America is brought to you by Pannell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track. And Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off-Track Betting.